Hey, how's it going? So, got my cup of rosy and the old greyhound mug. And today, what I'm going to do, I'm not doing, well, I am. Later on, I'll be doing the Daily Stoic. But I'm starting a new series, and it's going to be called Living Vexed. It's something I started typing out on my laptop, I guess a few years ago. Probably during lockdown, I reckon, back in 2020. It's just stuff that annoyed me. So normally I try and stay positive about a lot of things. I try and stay positive on the Daily Stoic. And the last sort of couple of videos I've done, I guess, with this veteran can theme, I've been fairly positive. The TV license one might have got a little bit away from me, but ultimately it was positive. This one, I'll still try and keep it lighthearted and positive, but it's just me talking about stuff that annoys me. So it's just, in a way, it's my therapy. I'm just getting it out there. And you know what? Half the stuff I moan about, or am going to moan about, it's probably stuff I'm guilty of doing as well. So whatever I say, take it with a little pinch of salt. It's a little bit tongue in cheek, and just remember, a lot of it is probably aimed at me anyway. So the first subject of this Living Vexed, it's got to be people driving on the motorway, dual carriageway, whatever road, much lower than the speed limit. Now, I do realise that just because the speed limit is 30 or 40 or 70 in some national speed limits, doesn't mean that you have to do it. You've got to drive appropriately to the conditions. So when the conditions are adverse, they're bad, people driving slower doesn't really annoy me. In fact, it's probably something we should do. But if you've got a nice, bright, sunny day, not too bright, so we're all white, blind, I can't see a thing. But you know what I mean, you've got a nice, crisp, sunny day. You would think the traffic's flowing, nothing should be bothering you. And you come down the slip road onto the motorway, and there's two things that wind me up here. Coming down the slip road behind someone who thinks it's appropriate to join, I don't know, a motorway where cars are hopefully doing up to 70 miles an hour. They're approaching it at like 30 miles an hour. That gets me, because they might have a more powerful car than me, so they can just pootle their way down there and just get out and go. I've got my old Volkswagen van, so I can I can keep up to 30 behind them. Okay, it's not that old. It's not one of them split screen, really ultra desirable ones. It's a T5, so it is fairly new, I guess. However, it's still a van with a heavy diesel engine. So for me to go from 30 mile an hour to out onto the motorway and try and get up to 70, it takes a bit more than someone's nippy car in front of me. But that's not just it. Not only do they sometimes just mince the way down at 30 mile an hour, when they go to pull out, they pull out and then they slowly increase their speed to maybe sort of 50, 60 if you're lucky. And at that stage, it's sort of easy for me to keep up and get past, but it just annoys me because I could have matched the speed of the traffic as we join the flow of the main road. I thought that's how it's supposed to do it. I could be really wrong here, but that's what I always thought it was supposed to do. So that winds me right up, especially when I got a lorry right up me chuff, sort of almost on my back bumper and about to drive over me, because they've got even less patience than I have. But to go along with that, it's not just the people going along at 30 mile an hour in like third gear or whatever. It's the ones that, even if they're not in front of you, you've got that clear slip road, you're coming down, and then it seems that the people on the motorway in the first lane you get into, they could be doing 70. They're in conditions where 70 is totally appropriate, totally safe, but for whatever reason for them, either they deem it's not safe, they're going on some massive fuel saving exercise, or they just like to see the world burn. And for me to be in a rear view mirror ripping clumps of hair out of my head, they're pootling along at 50, but they're sort of spaced out. It's never just the one car, it's a few of them, and they're spaced out in a way that I'm coming down. I think I'm going to be at a speed appropriate to join, but then I have to slow down to then try and get a gap in between all these, and there's lorries overtaking them, and it just boils my piss. It really, really boils my piss. Apologies for any swearing. For those of you that know me, you know I like SpongeBob, and in SpongeBob, swearing was described as sentence enhancers, so you might get some sentence enhancers throughout any of these living vexed rants. Probably less likely to get them on any of the other style of videos, but these ones, it's going to come out. The squaddy mouth will come out, and sometimes I'll just forget myself and I'll be swearing, like when I was back in the army. Yeah, so it just really gets right up my arse when I'm having to change my style of driving to sort of fit in with this weirdness. It seems to me like the last 10 years this has become a thing. I could have sworn like 10 years ago and previous this was never a thing. And now it seems to be every junction trying to, if you get there at a busy time of day, trying to join a motorway or a dual carriageway, it's just some sort of drama. But not only that, it's the leaving the motorway or dual carriageway. It seems that between junctions, the traffic can sort of flow fairly well. But now as you come to junctions, it's either people mincing their way on or feeling they need to slow right down to get off. Now, like I said, I cannot claim to be the best driver in the world. And I'll fully admit that I'm probably guilty of doing like 50 mile an hour on the motorway when you're just in that driving trance where for like the past 5 minutes you know you've been doing stuff, but you can't really remember doing it because you're on like this sort of autopilot or whatever. For whatever reason, I've realised sometimes, and it's especially pertinent in the better half's car where she's got like the adaptive cruise control. I'm just happily toddling along and realise I've gone down from 50 to 70. Gone down from 70 to 50 because of the adaptive cruise control, because I've got someone in front of me with a National Trust sticker in the back. And then I whatever it is, whatever trance I'm in, I come out from it and I realise that I'm just as guilty of holding people up and the lorries overtaking me and all sorts, and then I've got to try and get out and around. So I admit I'm just as much to blame. But we don't want to look at my faults here. I want to be moaning about the faults of everyone else. Along the lines of the bad workman blames his tools. And we blame every other fucker on the road. It's clearly not me. But do you know what I'm getting on about here? It just really, really winds me up. I think one of the biggest culprits for it is the M25. I know when I get on the M25 from like the M4 and I'm going anti-clockwise or counterclockwise, whatever you want to call it, I'm going round to Dartford, where I'm from originally, and not only is everyone driving slower on the bits of the road where you've got the cameras, the variable speed limit cameras, it's like whoever designed them, there's a special circle of hell created for whoever came up with this, because I'm sure whoever's in control of it that day is like that. Roads are fairly clear. You know what? We'll put it down to 60. And we'll keep everyone at 60. I think that's happened, or even, God forbid, even less. And I think that's happened so much on the M25 that on the joyous occasions where those lights aren't on, or those speed limits aren't on, people are that indoctrinated into going no more than 60 miles an hour. You could be on like the 4-lane stretch of it, and I can be in the far overtaking lane, doing 70, going past God knows how much traffic that's doing sort of 60 or less when it's clear and it's good conditions. Purely, I'm convinced for the fact that they're conditioned to be doing no more than 60, so they're in their autopilot. So I'm not going to blame the speed distance control thing, which I've now forgotten. Adaptive cruise control. I'm not blaming that for everything. These people, I guess, they got in their happy trance and they're going along, and if they're content to do 60, great. But just realise, please, that there's then this build-up of people on this outside lane doing 70, quite happily doing 70 and sailing past all this traffic. But then you still have to pull in because there's some fucker in a big branded car behind me flashing their lights because 70 is not fast enough for them. And they're wanting to go steaming past me in my little happy van. So that's something that really, really wound me up on this last weekend. But due to the Daily Stoic over the last year, and for the years previous, but especially the last year, I've been reading it every day. It's made me more mindful of this stuff. So yes, it winds me up, and yes, I can have this rant about it here and now. And for me, it's entertaining to do. Let me know if it's entertaining to listen to. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Please let me know if you agree with me or don't agree with me. Either way, by doing this Daily Stoic, I realised that, you know what, in that split second, everyone is entitled to that, the rage of like, come on, for the love of God, just, for fuck's sake, get a move on. However, do I really want to be living in that rage for the rest of the journey? As funny as it might be for my passengers, listening to me moan and bleat about it, I don't really want that mindset and negativity for me. So what I do now, and what I did in that weekend, yes, it annoyed me. It really annoyed me. And I probably let it annoy me longer than I should. But then I was like, you know what, Nick, let's end that there. Let's end it. Let's chin it off, and then let's just get on with your life. There's more important things to be getting worried about rather than, bloody hell, I've got enough focus and energy. I should focus on my own life rather than worrying about what everyone else is doing around me and how I perceive it affecting me. So one of the lessons for Daily Stoic, some things aren't in your control. And today's rant is a perfect example of stuff that's not in my control. I can't control how fast the people in front of me are going. I might be able to somewhat control how fast people behind me are going to a degree, but the people in front of me, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So I should just let them get on with it and drive as calmly and as safely as I can. And I'll be back with you next time for my next rant, whenever that may be. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope no one's taken it too seriously. So I'm going to start getting hate mail and all sorts of abuse. I could do without that level of excitement. But if you have enjoyed it, please do all the good stuff of commenting, liking, subscribing, all that, because I'm new starting out on this and it all helps me. So if you got this far, or if you've watched even like 5 seconds of it, thank you very much, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.